It's National Children's Mental Health Week, and the theme of this year's Mental Health Week is called Finding Your Brave. So today I want to take a few moments to find my brave and to find a little courage to talk about something that we often don't talk about enough, and that's grief. You're probably all aware by now that I'm currently in the middle of running 1,000 kilometres across Ireland's Wild Atlantic Way, and my goal is to raise €150,000 for the Children's Grief Centre in Limerick. With just 300 kilometres to go, I thought it'd be a really good time to come on and do a small little video and to remind you all of the reason why I wholeheartedly support the work that they do in supporting children and young adults navigate their way through grief. I wholeheartedly do this because I once was a grieving child, and now at the age of 28 I still am a grieving adult. For those of you who know and understand my pain, you know that grief is a complicated, messy, difficult, feel it in your bones type pain. And it's something that shakes you to your core. Grief isn't something that can be gotten over, but yet grief is something that is endured. And I hope maybe by opening up and telling my story and my reason why, that I can help others through their grief to realise that they're not alone, and know that I stand shoulder to shoulder with anybody who is facing into grief. My dad died when I was really young. I was so young that actually I have no living memories with my father. It's not something that's easy for me to talk about, but there isn't a second that goes by that I don't wish, and there isn't anything that I wouldn't do to have at least 5 minutes to sit down and be in his company. When he died, I was so young. And actually growing up, because I had no living memories, I found it quite difficult to grieve or feel like that I had a right to grieve. And now, at the age of 28, as an adult, I'm finally starting to try and come to terms with my grief. My grief and what I grieve for is the fact that I no longer have a father with me. So while I don't have any memories to grieve for, I actually grieve for the moments that I never got to create or share. I grieve for the memories that I never got to create with him. I grieve for the big moments. The moments where, for example, your father is meant to walk you down the aisle on your wedding day. I grieve for the little moments and the somewhat insignificant moments. I grieve for a friend that I never got to have. I grieve for the stories that never got to be told. And I grieve for the life that never got to be lived. And while it's not something that I find really easy to talk about, I think it's important to know the whole reason why I run. As it stands at the moment, there are over 200 children on the waiting list to seek help from the Children's Grief Centre. It's 200 kids who are going through a really difficult time, who have lost someone really significant in their lives. There's 200 families who are going through a really hard time as well, that are trying their best to navigate their way through grief and who are desperately seeking help. Coming to terms with any loss is difficult. But today we have a centre whose sole purpose is to help us through that experience, to talk to our young kids and young adults and to help them navigate their way through grief. I think that's something worth supporting. I have just over 300 kilometers left in this journey before I reach the end and before I get to Kinsale and this challenge is over. And what I've realised is, while this started off as a very personal challenge to make friends with my mind, I am so glad that I gave this challenge meaning and purpose and a different form in supporting the Children's Grief Centre. So I hope that you can continue to support them, because it's not about me anymore. It's not about the run. It's not about whether I will finish or not, because I will. I promise you I will. But donate and support to help the Children's Grief Centre continue to do the work that they do. Donate to support the children and the families who are desperately trying to find help through their grief. If you have been through grief or you're going through grief, again, I'd like to remind you that I stand shoulder to shoulder with you. But I know that there are no words that I could come up with to adequately describe the pain and the messy kind of part of grief. And if you've never experienced grief, count yourself as been one of the very, very lucky ones. But I believe we have something special here. And if we all come together, we can really create something as a community. Because I believe that life is meant to be lived together, to be shared together, to be gone through together, to be experienced together. And that doesn't mean just the good times. By supporting me and my run, you are supporting the children who are grieving and the families who are going through a really difficult time. And you are supporting the Children's Grief Centre so that they can continue to do the work that they do. I know what it's like to live a life without the Children's Grief Centre. To have nowhere to go, to nowhere to turn to. Because when my dad died, there was nothing there like as amazing as the Children's Grief Centre is. But I've also seen firsthand the positive impact that the work in the centre do and has on the lives of children. My grief manifested into anxiety and a deep depression, and I don't want any other child to have to go through that. So I wholeheartedly support and will keep running as much as I have to, so that we can come together and raise as much funds for the Children's Grief Centre as possible. Now, if you're still watching this, I want you to take a few moments today to be present with the people that you love. And maybe use this as a reminder that sometimes the moments in life, they fleet really, really fast. So take a few moments today to slow it all down, to spend time with the people that you love, and to tell them that you love them. Because if I've learned anything, it's that life is really fragile. And we need to treasure all these moments. Because life is really, really short. As always, thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. So let's come together as a community and keep doing it.